Bloomberg Audio Studios. Podcasts, radio, news.
The Stock Movers Report, your roundup of companies making moves in the stock market, harnessing the power of Bloomberg data.
Let's take a look at some stocks on the move today in Europe. I'm Stephen Carroll with Lizzie Burden, and we're joined by Bloomberg reporter Chloe Mele. Chloe, good morning. Let's start with Burberry. It looks like investors are convinced by the CEO's latest turnaround plan.
Yeah, absolutely. So Burberry's update this morning essentially tells us what investors were really hoping for, which is that this turnaround strategy is working. So sales came in ahead of expectations, and that is now the second consecutive quarter of growth after a few years of back-to-back sales declines for Burberry. The particularly reassuring bit about this update is that China was one of the regions that performed particularly well, and that is, of course, a very essential market for luxury company, and that is one that has had a tough couple of years. So the fact that things are getting better in China bodes quite well for the rest of that sector. For Burberry in particular, it shows that the strategy of going back to basics, so essentially going back to the trench coats and the scarves that Burberry is known for, is working, and analysts have said that this is really another step in the right direction for the company. So now we had Richemont last week, and this is now the second major luxury name in Europe reporting positive results. Of course, 2 is not enough, but 3 is a trend. So we'll see what we get from LVMH next week to see if there's indeed a luxury rebound there. It might have benefited from the same tailwinds, but then of course there is that tariff threat that is really clouding the outlook.
And Chloe, we've got a European molecular testing firm whose name I'm not going to try and pronounce. You can tell me how to say it, but that's weighing options about fresh buyer interest. How's the market reacting?
Yeah, so I think it's pronounced Qiagen, but again, I have no idea either. So the market reacted very positively this morning. Shares rose quite a bit because of this potential sale. So Qiagen is reportedly currently fielding interest from some potential buyers, although this is at a very preliminary stage for now. It's not the first time that the company has attracted interest. There was rumours of takeover happening a few times over the last few years, but a deal has never actually happened. The time that it came the closest to a deal was in 2020 when Thermo Fisher Scientific had made a $12 billion takeover bid, but then it eventually abandoned that because of opposition from an activist investor. So we'll see if this time something actually comes out of this, and this is all happening at a time of a lot of leadership changes at the company. The CEO is going to be leaving the company as soon as a successor is found, and his departure is seen as kind of removing a big roadblock to a potential transaction. And there's quite a lot of deal activity happening in this sort of biotech life sciences space. So this latest one is definitely one to watch out for.
I am reliably told it is Qiagen, so well done, Chloe. You guessed right.
Great.
Let's turn to Rio Tinto next, the mining company. Its shares are up by 4.8% at the moment. What's going on?
Well, it's really been the year for miners this year. So Rio Tinto is, of course, benefiting as usual, as it has been since the start of the year, from that rush to safe havens that is leading gold and silver higher. But it's also doing well today because of its copper output increasing. So, of course, this is very important because copper is a major part of the company's growth plans. It's also a big driver behind the ongoing talks with Glencore, because part of the rationale for that potential deal between the two is to become a copper giant, given that this is a metal that is going to be absolutely crucial for some key industries going forward. It's used in things like electronics, electric vehicles, data centers. So copper is really important to both the green transition and also the AI boom. And so it means that miners are really keen to control a big part of this copper production, and the fact that the output is increasing for Rio Tinto, that's good news for the company, and the shares did rise on the back of that.
The Stock Movers Report from Bloomberg Radio. Check back with us throughout the day for the latest roundup of companies making news on Wall Street. And for the latest market-moving headlines, listen to Bloomberg Radio live. Catch us on YouTube, Bloomberg.com, and on Apple CarPlay and Android Auto with the Bloomberg Business app.